All right, let's get our Facebook friends in here before it's time to go. Spinning wheels, 1 and 2. All right, give it a second to breathe. Goose Rabba. All right. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in. It is Thursday morning, and it is time for another episode of Broncos for Breakfast. I am Nick Kendell, and joined by, as always, for these morning shows, Scott Kennedy out there in Atlanta. Scott, how you doing today? Happy Thursday. Happy pre-Friday, Friday Junior. We're almost there.
Yeah, and you got football on the night, and the kids are off from their sports. It feels like a weekend. So I always thought Thursday night started the weekend anyway. Friday was just kind of coast
Yeah.
days anyway. Well, when I was in college, the weekend never really stopped, but that's neither here nor there. And that was an anger management reference I think I heard from the Goose Rabba.
Yep.
So yeah, didn't particularly like that movie, but I remember that part.
It was fine. Yeah, welcome in, everybody. It's good to see you. The Scott and I are going to have another show before the Broncos kick off on
Mhm.
Monday night as well. So this won't be our full-fledged breakdown and reaction to the football week that was. But alas, we did this yesterday on Scott's channel, breaking down the grades of the positional groups, going through, and we could compare our grades to an article, but Scott and I are just going to kind of do it on our own. And you guys in the chat, we're going to, because, chatting is so amazing in here, we're going to ask you guys as well your grades and flash those on the screen when we get to each positional group as we go along. But talking about flashing on the screen, let's say hello to some people in the chat. We got Jeremy Sean in the house saying, "Good morning, boys." Good to see you, Jeremy. As always, US Dave saying, "I want to go to the game. Anyone got an extra ticket?" What game and ticket? You talking about the Chargers game? US Dave, are you out there in Los Angeles? I can't imagine it'd be too hard to get tickets to the Chargers game. We had a very nice Charger fan come in yesterday and give us a super chat and, cordially talk. I always love talking with other fans as long as their goal isn't just, fifth grade education level crap talking. That's great. But you could probably find a ticket because the Chargers are not the most ravenous, expansive fan base out there. And it looks like a beautiful stadium, too. I mean, that's a little small stadium, gorgeous. I mean, I can't imagine not being able to find a ticket, but hopefully somebody can find one for you. Hit us up on Twitter. I'll retweet you with my massive 5,000 follower reach.
The resale market says tickets as low as $41
Okay, well,
on looking at ESPN, so
you should be able to get
it
that.
should come down from there.
Yeah. Hashtag go to the game, US Dave. We also got Blave Bliss coming in here. I don't recognize this name, but welcome in, Blave Bliss. Happy Thursday morning to you. I do recognize Diamond Rattler. Now, the question with Diamond coming in this morning is he a twice a day at the gym kind of guy? Is he building his schedule for lifting around the Mile High Huddle live stream schedule? Let us know if you're back at the gym, Diamond, or if you're just right now, you're getting that protein in, that whey, working on your smoothies out there.
I
Bam it.
seem to have a lot of rest days built into my routine.
That's what winter is for. Winter is bulking season, and then the summertime, hiking 20 miles a weekend. Bama X, good morning, Broncos country. Good to you, Bama X. Man, I am Scott. I know you kind of buried your hardcore college fandom a while ago, but I am jonesing for this Tennessee Alabama game on Saturday. If the smoke doesn't clear up, then I'm gonna be sitting in front of the couch. Don't bother me. Alabama Tennessee is on, and I'm not cheering for either team. But Tennessee being interesting, I think, is a lot better for college football. I've always enjoyed Tennessee being somewhat good.
Well, and it's strange, for as long as a rivalry that is, it doesn't seem like in my lifetime, for the most part, those teams have been good at the same time.
Mhm.
Maybe some in the 80s, but in the 90s, Tennessee was good. But the game in the 90s was Tennessee, Florida.
Mm.
Alabama had some moments, but the game really was 10. And then after the 2000s, there was a little bit of a lull there with Shula and DeBose and all these guys, and Alabama fell off until they got it right and went and got Nick Saban. And during the Nick Saban era, which is as impressive an era in college football for my money as there's ever been, considering the limitations and scholarships, TV for everyone, what he's done, I think, is as impressive as anything that's ever been done in college football.
Yeah.
Tennessee's fallen off, the last 15 years. So having them both good at the same time should be fun, and maybe they can sustain it for a little while. It won't just be a flash in the pan for Tennessee, and are they back? Is Tennessee back?
And I think it's number
105,000 at Vol Navy. It's a good time up there. It's one of my favorite stadiums to go to.
Yeah, it's a cool stadium. Love the checkered end zone. And also, what was it? We have Michigan Penn State this week as well with another undefeated matchup. So pretty good in the Big Ten. And Iowa is kicking off against the bye week. We'll see how many punts they have versus the bye week. We got Dom in the house. Good to see you, Dom. Good morning, Nick and Scott in Broncos country. Broncos need to stop the run against the Chargers. Score points on offense. Let's have that mile high magic. Have you had a chance to go back and watch this Chargers Browns game?
I haven't watched it. Just looking at the box score is something I brought up right away that Dom does. Austin Eckler with 175 yards, and the Browns defense isn't exactly the dogs in the end zone right now. But still, you rush for 200 yards against an NFL team, you're doing something right. And they did. They broke 200 pretty easily.
I'm curious to see what their other rushing totals have been so far this season, just because it seems like such an outlier. Yeah, against the Houston Texans, which wasn't super impressed with their run defense specifically. Their defense was better than I thought going in. But Austin Eckler, 13 carries for 60 yards, not great. 2 touchdowns, which is good, but
That's not
I
bad.
don't think
4.5, almost 5 a carry.
Yeah, but it's not like 200 yards. It's
Yeah.
not like, oh my God, we're playing the Philadelphia Eagles rushing attack right now. The Chargers have also played the Raiders. Let's see what the box score was for the Raiders as well. Chargers Raiders on, I think that was week 1. You had
Austin. That up, Kathy. Thanks for noticing. This is still just the remnants of the fall yuck I get. So I'm like, my voice is about 4 octaves lower today. So it'll change. No singing in the car for me. I end up in a coughing fit. So that's hard for me. As soon as I hear the music in the car, I have to start singing. But yeah, I feel okay. I feel okay, but my voice is still a little off, just a little bit of congestion. But thanks for asking.
Scott will carry the load. Oh, speaking of which, I got a cough.
I gave it to Nick.
Those internet viruses, you know how they work. Jeremy Bale's in the house. Sup, guys? Good to see you. Dave says he's in Arizona, so not hard. Yeah, not hard at all. And Jeremy Bale says he'll be there. That's awesome. Sunny Days saying good morning, everyone. Good to see you, Sunny Days. Edward coming in. Hey, guys. Morning, Broncos country. Awesome to see you. Dom says I listen to you guys every morning while I'm at work. What's with for Saturday, Nick Kendell? Hoping to do a hike, but we'll see what the smoke says. My cousin's supposed to visit next. Gets here Thursday night, and wouldn't you know it, we have a massive ping on the weather system where we might have the open torrential rains coming Friday as soon as he gets here. So classic Seattle. It's like, oh, we need rain. We need rain. Not that much rain. I'm worried about landslides now with all the fire damage and whatnot and the roots being torn up in the loose soil, but we'll see.
Yeah, Jesse West Coast doesn't handle weather very well. So it's too dry, fire. So it's too rain, mudslides. It's just, what are we supposed to do?
Hold on for dear life.
Yeah. Windstorms, Santa Ana winds. It's weather. Don't talk to me about the South not being able to handle 2 inches of ice. I've seen what happens to LA when it rains.
Yeah. I mean, from Iowa, Iowa's the only place you'll see somebody going 85 through a blizzard on the interstate where you can't see anything. It's wild. Jesse coming in here saying good morning, Nick and Scott in Broncos country. Good to see you, Jesse.
Yeah, appreciate the stars, getting us kicked off with some stars, Jesse. Thank you very much, my friend.
Thank you so much, Jesse. We appreciate that. Tim Durr, good morning, fellas. What's up, Broncos country? Not too much. Peter Middleton, one of our consistent star givers and supporter of the show. Hello from Cambodia. Good to see you. We got Jesse kicking us off with the grades here, saying Russ gets an F. I believe Perna is right that part of why Russ gets so much hate is because he doesn't know how to turn it off. The fact that other players aren't coming to his defense says a lot. I thought Marshawn Lynch kind of came to his defense a little bit. I don't know if you saw the Marshawn Lynch what's the name of the corner? Richard Sherman podcast the other day, where Marshawn Lynch has said, I kind of feel bad people are piling on him so much. I'd love to reach out to him, but I don't want to go through his people to talk to him. It feels like Russ has built this like really insulated ecosystem, and I don't know if that's a pre or post Sierra thing, but it's part of the reason that a lot of people are not as in on him. It's this corny kind of inauthentic face that people get from him. I'm not saying that he actually is that way because I don't know the dude, but that probably turns some people off. So we'll see. I mean, I'm betting on Russ to turn it around. He's not going to look this bad, continue to look this bad, but people are going to continue to hate because they've decided, and it's a classic media too. They want to punch you down, and then once you figure it out, oh my God, look at how much he overcame. We love him now. I mean, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers. It's the media, and gosh, kind of a human experience as well to punch somebody down, and when they're at their lowest, pull them back up. We were with you the whole time, buddy.
Well, in the old phrase, they like to, you live long enough to become the villain.
Mm,
It's
yeah,
just, it happens. Right. Who's the villain this week? Tom Brady. Tom Brady's a villain. There isn't anybody coming to Tom Brady's defense
no,
for that roughing the passer, except for, fervent Tampa Bay Buccaneers fans. That is just, it's fairly natural. Now,
yeah.
you and I have discussed off camera some of the criticism that Russ gets. Corny is code for something else in my book that I'm not going to get into publicly.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. It's unfortunate, but I mean, in the end, play on the field is what's going to sway a lot of people in Broncos country, and I think the best is definitely yet to come with Russ in Denver. K Shaguki TV coming in saying, "Hey Scott, if they simplify the offense with Russ and reshuffle the offensive line, do you think the unit can improve?"
Absolutely. Absolutely. You get back into some quick passing game. I'd like to see some more stuff under center, running, a little bit more. If I'm under center, I want to run the ball more, and then I want to work play action off the run. And I don't want to see play action on 3rd and 9 or more. I saw one of those in a game. When I see play action on 3rd in a passing situation, it drives me bananas.
Mhm.
I'm not. You can hand it off. I'm going for your quarterback. That's an easy read. Someone else will clean him up before he gets a first down. I'm not biting on the play action.
Yeah.
But the quick passing game for sure. A little bit better protection, holding the point of attack a little bit better so that the defensive linemen aren't in your lap on the snap when you set your back foot. But yeah, I still think there's obviously a lot of a room for improvement.
Yeah, 100%.
Can they improve? Yes, I truly believe it's got nowhere to go but up. Frankly, I mean, so they've got to improve. They have to. They can't get worse. Really, they can't.
You say that, but then
I do, but they really can't. It's they're second worst in scoring right now, and they just lost to the worst.
Yeah. Again, you say that, but I'm a bitter Hawkeye fan over here where the Hawkeyes finished like 127th in offense last season. And guess where they're at this season? 131 out of 131. So you can get worse. And if the injuries continue, I mean, it really could. But
It's
I
not
think
going to get worse.
I think that's a
It's
good
not.
bet, but I'm
It's
afraid to
just
talk
not.
in.
I mean, we're talking probability here. It's
Yeah.
not going to get worse on offense. It's just not.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just chicken shit to start talking absolutes because
I know.
so I feel
I
like every
know.
time I do
I
that,
know.
the universe is like, you know what, Nick, blur this out. So it's let's not do that. But it has to get. I think it will get better. Odds of it getting better are probably 95 out of 100. Where 4% is it stays the same, and 1% it gets worse. Andrew Lampy.
I'm talking about not overall. I'm talking about just from this last game. I feel
Oh
like you hit
yes,
bottom
yes,
in this last game, and and the thing is all right, 250 yards passing and 125 yards rushing. That doesn't sound that bad. That's not that bad. But where are you getting your yards? And again, I look at it. The quarterback hits. You were hit 8 times, sacked 4 times. It's just when it matters, it's so discombobulated. It was this game on both sides. It was, it's starting long. Well, let's just go sack the quarterback. Forget all these schemes and simulated pressures, all that type of stuff. Let's just keep it simple. Let's just go sack the quarterback. That worked. Both lines were so bad in this game that
yeah.
it's got to get better. It has to.
I hope so. And Andrew Lampy coming in saying, "Here comes the 3-point game. Thanks, Scott." Hey, man, we're still waiting for that 2-0 game. That's not ruled out.
I watched Mississippi State and Auburn go 3-2 in a game one time, and it was a hell of a lot more entertaining than that last 12-9 game that set NFL football back a decade. Not even a decade. That was just horrendous. What an awful display on both sides. I felt bad for the quarterbacks. It's like, the narrative is that these guys are old and washed. It's hard to tell. Matt Ryan was knocked down 12 times. Russell Wilson was knocked down, what did I just say, 8 or 9, sacked 5. The running game was not, it was just bad. Just all around bad. And there's some good defenses there. Indianapolis has some talent on defense. Denver has some talent on defense. So by default, it should get easier against the Chargers.
You'd hope so. Got Thomas Holt coming in. Good morning to you, Thomas. Jesse. Oh, we got Jesse already for the stars. Thank you so much, Jesse. Andrew Lampy, good morning to you. Chad Montana coming in saying Eckler is going to be an issue. If Keenan Allen is out, is PS2 on him even if Allen is coming back from injury? I think you put Patrick Surtain on Mike Williams, ideally, and because Keenan Allen's still going to be dealing with a hamstring, and Mike Williams is more of a big play threat than Keenan Allen is. So you let them matriculate the ball down the field with Keenan Allen, a little bit extra coverage to protect him, rolling over there. But I think you see Patrick Surtain on Mike Williams there. And as far as Eckler being an issue, maybe I'm more concerned about the Broncos' lack of execution because of Josie Jewell being out than I am actual Chargers offensive line / Eckler combination. I know he was good last week, but I'm telling you, that Browns defense is warm butter and the other teams are a knife, just slice right through.
Yeah, and Chase coming in said, you promised we would at least not be boring. I did. I said, you would see a more attack-minded offense. I still think you're seeing more deep shots taken, just not connected. But on the flip side, on the other side of the ball, you're absolutely seeing a more attack-minded defense. I'm with you on this. I remember the things I say. And I say a lot of stuff that's going to be wrong. I got a Twitter troll coming after me the other day about something I didn't say. I'm like, dude, you can find enough things I'm going to be wrong about. Just I'll own up to it. No problem. But, like this one. And, for I didn't say it was boring. It was bad. The offense it was too bad to be boring. It was one of those, like, I can't look away. Is it really this bad?
Yeah.
So, we'll see. We'll see. It's got to get better though. It has to improve. And I know, Chase, I know you're just joking.
Yeah, I heard Yakety Sax playing in the background last week for the Broncos-Colts game, and then continue to play for Iowa versus Illinois. Justin May coming in saying, thoughts on trading for Christian McCaffrey? How would he fit in this offense? I would like Christian McCaffrey here, but the issue is he's an older running back who has played, 6 games over the last 24 or something with a big contract, and the Broncos lack draft capital. The combination of that just makes it seem like it's not a good pairing for Denver. Would he be a good fit in this offense? I actually think he would be a fine fit in this offense, given how much the Broncos are targeting the running back in the pass game right now. Russ is almost targeting the running back. I think I looked at the data. It was almost twice as much as the league average for running back targets through the season so far. So I don't think he'd be the worst fit by any means. Maybe you can actually run a little bit better from the shotgun with him there as well. But the issue is you have, 5 picks next year? None of them are before the 3rd round, and you're going to be paying a good-sized contract to him. So if Christian McCaffrey's ever in Denver, I think it's probably, let's say he gets traded to the Bills, and then the Bills have to pay offensive line because their offensive line is horrible right now. It's probably their biggest weakness right now. Josh Allen, he can just survive. Going to get him Cam Newton at some point with the offensive line there. So then the Bills release Christian McCaffrey because they have 0 dead cap because there's no guaranteed money on the contract after they trade for him. Then I could see the Broncos making a move for him, coming back to Denver and whatnot. But the trade right now with their limited capital, it just doesn't seem like a very prudent move.
His contract in a trade wouldn't be bad for the team trading for him because everybody finagles the salary cap through signing bonuses. So the dead cap would be prohibitive for the they'd have to take on $20 million in salary this year to unload Christian McCaffrey. Not going to happen. What I mean by that is he's got a $27 million dead cap hit, but only an $8 million cap hit right now. So you actually go up. You lose $20 million by getting rid of him. Next year, his base, which is what you'd be on the hook for if you took all of it, is only 11 or so, which is a lot for a running back, but not that cost prohibitive. All that said, he's injured a lot, and he's a luxury player for this team that can't afford luxuries right now. I've got I could come up with $11 million in my running back room. I've got 5.5 to 6 sitting with Mike Boone and Melvin Gordon. A healthy Christian McCaffrey, I'd rather have him and a practice squad guy than those two, without a doubt. Is he healthy, for one? That's a big question. And two, as Nick just said, and I'll try and keep it short, I'm not trading for him. I can't afford. I've got too many other things I need to do. I can fix one of my offensive line spots with a 3rd round pick. Do you think I could get him for a 3rd? Even if I could get some serious help on my interior line with a 3rd round pick next year. I can't. I don't have enough picks to be able to send one for Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, or another wide receiver, or a tight end, or a linebacker, cornerback. 3rd round corners are a little bit hit and miss. But yeah, Ryan Slavic coming in saying, good morning, everyone. I really hope we win this game. We desperately need it. It's definitely going to be a close game, though, for sure. At least I hope so. I think it will be a close game, Ryan. Peter Middleton coming in on the Broncos clever for signing 2 long snappers to the practice squad. I wonder if they'll start a trend as team specialists like long snapper just to practice squad to push them up on game day. I don't think that's going to be a trend. I think it's the Broncos like 2 guys and probably not enough of a sample size. So they're going to continue to get eyes on both of those guys and eventually whittle it down to 1. But for now, be like you both. This is considered your 2nd round of auditions.
Yeah. And you get 3 elevations before you either have to release or sign them to the 53. So if you have 2, you could do that for 6 weeks, kind of like what you're saying. You could keep them and stash them, but they don't cost anything. They don't cost anything. That if you find the guy you like, you keep him for a decade.
Yeah. Miguel Sant Steven, good morning, fellas. Do you think that Russ gets back to his roots and trying to be Manning? I don't know what's going to happen with Russ going forward. The offensive line has been struggling. He's been struggling. He needs to get Jerry Jeudy and Hamler involved when they are open. But back to his roots, I don't think the Russ of 2022 is going to look like the Russ of 2017 or 2015. But running around making crazy plays out of structure as much. I don't think that's as in his wheelhouse anymore. I just don't think he's got the wheels. So he does have to learn how to be more efficient in the pocket with the quick game. It's not there right now, but hopefully more time in the system, more chemistry working with Hackett with the essentially the mini bye this week, start to make some inroads on improving those aspects of the field. Want to say hello to Kayleon Green. Yo, good to see you, Kayleon. And we got a super coming in from Elliot D, $5 saying good morning from Page, Arizona. I took my family to their 2nd Broncos game last Thursday. I think we jinxed them. I should pick the Broncos to win this weekend. Should I pick the Broncos to win this weekend? I don't think you jinxed them, Elliot. That's people like to put that on me. So just keep casting on me. Just say that I was there in spirit for all the losses this year.
People say that week 1 was enough that this jinx is still carrying over for you, Nick. You've cursed the whole freaking season.
It might be. That's very true. But man, what an unfortunate game that was. Broncos have had a chance to win all these games, but they've also had a chance to lose every game they've won so far. So squarely in the middle, a lot of correctable stuff they can get right. But it's definitely been tough so far. Albert Knoppers, sup y'all? Good to see you. We got Memphis own Hurt coming in here saying good morning, Broncos country. Good to see you. Michael Ronquillo, happy belated birthday, Michael. It was Michael's birthday yesterday. I think he turned 40 years old, which is a big one there. So happy birthday to Michael Ronquillo. Yeah, that's 4-0, buddy. Good for you. Michael Kerr coming in. Offensive line is doggy treats. I mean, treats might be nice. My dog would. So the offensive line is incredible. My dog Summit would be all about that.
We have minor trained. They train you with a positive reinforcement. All it takes is one time for it to become a habit. So I am met when I get off the shows in the evenings. I am met at the top of the stairs by all kinds of fur balls because they know it's post-show treat time. They hear me coming up the stairs. They come running. I'm like, all right, let's go. Come on. So it's the doggy treats are a good thing. But I actually smile. I think that was a funny description.
Yeah, dog food. I heard that one before. I grew up in East Iowa near a couple of the cities had Purina plants by them, and that's
there was one here in Georgia too. It in Hapeville, just south of Atlanta. It smelled a little funky driving by it.
Yeah, not great. Facebook user, good morning, gents. Do you think Russell's struggles are because of the new system and new play caller? I think it's a combination of that, and he's just not playing great right now. Maybe too much. I'm not saying that he's not working hard, but just a lot of distractions and things going on, maybe making more of it than just the football game. So hopefully he'll get it figured out here and start playing a little better. Toyin coming in. Good morning, good afternoon, Broncos country. Been a while since I've been able to watch live. Good to see you. Toyin,
Yeah,
always great
welcome
to
back.
see
Good
you.
to see you, Toyin.
And Benjamin Flores coming in saying, howdy, folks. You guys are awesome and my favorite dudes to listen to on all things Broncos. That's so nice of you to say. We really do appreciate you. Keishaguki TV comes in saying, if you guys can retain 3 offensive line players off this team to rebuild, who are you and Nick going to pick? Going to retain 3. This is tough because you're taking on the contracts as well of these guys. So obviously Quinn Miners is one of them.
Mhm. I'm done.
I guess just for average or above average run blocking with or above average pass blocking with below average run blocking. If you can get him back for the same contract he's on right now, I guess Dalton Reisner. That doesn't make me feel great, but I think you can do far worse there if he's like your 4th or 5th best offensive lineman. Right now he's probably your 2nd best, which is not great. And then I guess the next one would be Luke Wattenberg because you traded up a 5th round pick to go get him. You still have 4 years left of really cheap cost control. So those are the 3 right now. But the offensive line definitely needs some overturning overhaul going on forward. And I mean, Bowles is probably your best offensive
I'd
lineman, but
still
the
take Garrett
contract stuff.
Bowles.
Yeah, okay.
18 is a lot. 18's a lot, but it's not too much for a quality left tackle. If he's coming back and he gets some help, again, the stuff I've seen that Garrett Bowles gives up for sacks have been on the ones I've specifically focused on. I've seen maybe 2 or 3 have been coverage sacks. It's been held onto the ball too long. And Reisner has been so bad, in my opinion, for 2 years now that it hurts the guys next to him as well. You go Bowles, then you go, I'm getting beat, I'm getting beat, I'm getting beat. I'm okay. It's across the offensive line. And I'm sticking with Bowles. I'm not, knowing what do you get back? What could I get as a replacement if I were to move on from Bowles next year? I'd get dead cap number
8 million
there it is, dead cap. I'm picking up $10 million in salary cap room
with 8 and dead.
I could upgrade for 10, and still pay the 18, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe, but I think you gotta keep Bowles next year of this bunch.
Yeah. One thing I will say, and going back and talking with some people who really watch the Broncos trenches in the defense of Reisner, is that it looks like schematically they trust Graham Glasgow and Lloyd Cushenberry so little that Reisner is very often being put in one-on-one situations, no matter the matchup, where a lot of times if you have more competency on the interior offensive line, you can kind of rotate the double teams on that unit in order to take out the best player. But it looks like they trust Lloyd Cushenberry so little, and also pass protection mobility of Graham Glasgow that Reisner is getting a lot of one-on-ones, leading to more hard to win matchups. Now he's not winning them at a high rate. Don't get me wrong.
And for me, Nick, it's not even winning them. It's at least just slowing them down. Holding your point of attack. I'm not even saying, okay, I want to see a push. I want to see you knock them back 3 yards.
Yeah,
I'm tired of seeing these guys go backwards.
Yeah. Yep.
It's hard to run. We talk about this. It's like, okay, I'm going to run a stretch play off left tackle. Well, when your defensive tackle gets a push 3 yards in, that doesn't become a stretch play anymore. No. It becomes a sweep. Okay. The entire blocking scheme, everything that the other guys on the outside of that are supposed to do has now been rendered moot. They're blocking into an area now instead of pushing a guy wide, or cracking down or whatever. Now I'm pushing him right into where the running back has to go because the middle of the offensive line's been blown up. All right. I'm not going to harp on offensive line until we get to OL grades.
And let's get into the grades, but I want to say hello to Kevin Gray first. Morning, Broncos country, Nick and Scott. Well, I let the hype get to me no matter what. There's a team. They are my team. Broncos fan for life since 68. Yeah, absolutely. Not going away. We're not going anywhere either. We got Brandon Warlick coming in saying, let's go Bolts. Let's go no injuries. I think we can let's find common ground here. This is, opposite of the political spectrum coming in. Let's both agree. No injuries coming out of this game, and we'll call it good. Dion Green coming in saying, I appreciate the restraint, but this has been unacceptable. We're trash because it was supposed to be different this year. Russ is not going to pay off. Too early to say it's not going to pay off. The early returns are poor, but luckily you are 5% into the contract. not great, no doubt. You are married to him for the next 3 seasons, for
3
sure.
after this one.
3 after this one.
Yeah.
Yep,
It's a
and
4-year
that's
deal.
so you're gonna have time to try to figure it out and build the roster specifically around Russell Wilson. The thing that makes it so tough is that the Chargers and the Chiefs have quarterbacks who are, pretty darn special, unfortunately. But the Broncos, they have a chance to get it right. I would not be giving up yet, uh, by any means. It's going to get better with the Russell Wilson passing attack. And also, it wasn't horrific, in my opinion, before this Colts game. Now, was it great? No, the third downs in the red zone need to be worked on, but that's some stuff that I think there was definitely meat on the bone there. It wasn't until this Colts game where it was like, oh my God, what the bleep is this that we're watching? Maybe you can blame that on that lat injury that he suffered. And maybe also the second half of the Raiders game where they went to like run, and it was not effective, trying to limp their way to a victory that they are in the game where they were not able to hang on.
Well, and Nick, we say it's a 4-year deal, but in the 5th year, it's still a $30 million dead cap hit. It's just that the cap hit goes up to 59 million. So you're saving 30 million if you move on, which to me makes you expendable at that point. You just have to take a pretty good sized cap hit. But if you do that across 2 seasons, it's 15 a year, and that's not that bad, assuming you do everything else okay. So, yeah, you're definitely like you said, the early returns have not been good, but they are early returns. We talk about all of this newness, and I think in the excitement for the personnel, we've glossed over that too much. Nathaniel Hackett, when's the last time he called plays, and how good was he at the time? And if we're going to talk with a little bit of hindsight, I've said from the get-go, hiring an offensive coordinator as your head coach from an uber quarterback, that doesn't pan out all the time. I mean, it seems like Josh McDaniels, Charlie Weiss, those are my 2 big ones as far as, okay, they were offensive coordinators for the New England Patriots. Tom Brady is the offense for the New England Patriots, not those guys. They have failed miserably. Nathaniel Hackett's not even calling his own plays in Green Bay, and he's got Aaron Rodgers. That worries me. That worried me a little bit, Nick. That's one of the few. That's one of the we didn't dampen it enough. Maybe didn't talk about it enough, but that was a concern.
No.
And it might take a little time.
Yep, absolutely. And
was Adam Gase one of those guys too? Is that where he came from? As Bama X comes in, was he a Patriots guy?
Yeah, no. Adam Gase was maybe a Carolina guy. Came in with John Fox, and then Peyton Manning propped him up, and he got a job at Miami, and obviously was way over his head. Then maybe the Jets coach as well there for a bit. So
yeah, he was. I'm just wondering what was his tree coming up. I worry a little bit about the guys that can be propped up by Hall of Fame quarterbacks.
Yeah, that was definitely him. That was definitely Adam Gase. So let's get into the grades here. We're going to start off here. Would you rather start like right at the top with the conversation of quarterback, or would you rather go the opposite end, saving quarterback as the final act?
We can go offense first and then work our way to defense. It'll be more fun to finish with the defense.
That's true. We'll sandwich special teams in between there. So we got first up, quarterback grade. Scott, I'm gonna give you the floor first because I feel like last time you let me get the first one and then showed me the grades. So luckily, there's no grades to show on this one. But what are you thinking as far as? Oh, we got Cristiano coming in, big supporter last night. Morning, guys, running late, but love the deep analysis. We love you, Cristiano. Hope you're doing well. Tim Durr also in the house. Always said it's difficult for first-time head coaches to call their own plays. Absolutely. But talking about the quarterback here, we're grading the units. Russell Wilson, the only quarterback so far. Before you give me the final grade, do you somewhat curve the grade because of the injury and the newness, or is it just is that not something you're going to consider?
Well, one of the things that I've said it's impossible not to consider is your expectations going in.
Yeah.
Which I will try, and that's a bias when you're coming in. What I try not to do, but it's impossible, is let that influence what I see on the field right now. Relative to expectations, this has been an F. Overall, it's been C. He's been okay. He's had his moments where he's been good, but you didn't trade for him to get a C level quarterback. You've had C level quarterback play. That's not why you made this trade. And the fact that you gave up everything to get what I've always had, what I've been having hurts. That's why it feels like such a failure. But to this point, again, 5 games, but his actual play, the numbers, the movement of the ball, all of that stuff has been a C. It's been okay. It hasn't been terrible. There's been moments where it's been terrible. There's been moments where it's been really good. C.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's man. Luckily with this one, we can kind of give some a little bit more grades because last time I was very boxed in A, B, C, D, E, or no E, grade E, A, B, C, D, F. Why do we skip E? So weird. But I'd probably give the quarterback position a C minus to D plus so far. I think again, it comes in with expectation, but he's not played well. I mean, his stats right now, his advanced stats, like put him down there with Baker Mayfield and Justin Fields. And Justin Fields, at least you have the running threat now. It's not always going to be this bad, but it was bad. And that Colts game was as bad of a quarterback game we've seen in Denver for a bit. I mean, the turnovers were unbelievable, missing throws, decision makings, missing guys. It was really bad. Now, it was one game. It was the worst of the season, no doubt. And you have 11 games now, further from that injury, further from that stinker to improve. But I'm going to have to give them, I'll just go C minus, not to be totally horrible, but he's been a below average starting caliber quarterback, I think, overall through the first 5 games. Not totally his fault, but the output is the output. When you're getting paid a $245 million contract, you're expected to overcome the excuses. And that has not been the case so far, unfortunately. Let's see. What do you guys think? What is your grade for Russell Wilson so far? Let us know. Brad saying I give him an E.
I'd give him that E. Yeah.
Yeah. E for excellent.
I think C. Jeremy said I could rough a C minus. He's shown moments of being clutch, but clearly has underperformed. And again, relative to expectations, relative to the trade, if I'm grading the trade at this point, it's an F. It's a big fat F. And there's not all Fs are created equal. Where a 69 was an F for me in high school. We're not talking about a 69%. We're talking I'm coming into midterms with a 30, and I've got a long way to get up to F to get to, where I can get to the D. So that's where, I feel, and as Diamond says, Wilson's an F based on expectations and based on the cost it was to acquire. That's a big part of it, which helps sets the expectations. But as far as his actual play on the field in a vacuum, he's been okay. He's been okay.
Unsatisfactory, I think, is a good way to do it. To needs meets exceed. We're on needs right now, unfortunately. And Jamal Killing's coming in saying, good morning. I would rather have drafted a quarterback than traded picks for one. The issue was that last year's quarterback crop was a stinky pile as far as using a top 10 pick on a guy. Now, if you wanted to go, let's say, who was picked right after or picked with that Broncos pick? Was it I think it was Charles Cross. You get a tackle in there, although Charles Cross is more left tackle than right tackle, but you get somebody like that in there. You take a Jordan Davis to really, amp up the long term of the defensive line.
One of the 70 wide receivers that went.
Yeah. I mean, are you taking a wide receiver going into the season with that top 10 pick with Judy,
I probably would have liked Jordan for this team. I probably would have liked Jordan Davis at the time. I don't think had DJ Jones already signed.
Yes.
Probably had, but DJ
Still.
Jones, Jordan Davis, Draymond Jones. Whew.
Yeah.
That's a 3-4 I can get excited about. Anyway.
You could have put Scott Knight at linebacker, and we probably would have been okay. Just not getting touched ever.
But no, in hindsight, without a doubt, there's no question that you'd rather have those picks back because the early return on the trade have been so poor. Mm-hmm. No doubt, Jamal.
Yeah, and you had 2 second-round picks and 2 third-round picks. You could have gotten Desmond Ridder, maybe, and then some fans would be screaming for him, just like they were screaming for Drew Lock. What Jalen Hurts is doing right now as a non-first-round pick at quarterback is an aberration we see maybe once every 5-6 years in the recent trend. The only non-first-round picks at quarterback that have been hits this past decade have been like Kirk Cousins, Dak Prescott, Derek Carr, and I guess now Jalen Hurts as well. But you take that guy as a swing, calculated risk, and if he's a good backup on a cheap contract, that's just fine. But that's probably in hindsight right now what you'd consider, but is what it is. But good morning to you, and let's see what everybody else is. We don't have any other grades coming. A lot of Fs, so Broncos definitely got to get better there. Unfortunately, I'm not going to give them an F though. I'm going to give them a C minus. And Kathy Schmidt saying his best game so far was the Seattle game, and that was an L2. Yeah, 2 fumbles on the inches to go is unfreaking believable. But God, don't make me relive that, Kathy.
Well, and he's throwing more than he ever has.
Yeah.
I mean, you talk about attempts so far. Let Russ cook 42, 31, 33, 25 against Vegas, and then 39 in an overtime game against the Colts. So the fact that it's not being, it's again, it hasn't been good. It has not been good. And here, I'm just saying what Brad says. It's all a hot mess. Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
It's been somewhat of a steaming pile. Now we'll move on to running backs. I'm going to give the running backs a B minus. I think they've been fine. The fact that they've been utilized in the pass game has been okay. Losing Javonte Williams is very much a stomp to the groin, not just a kick, but a stomp. Maybe give him a B minus too, because the fumbles with Melvin Gordon drag them down. I think Scott's going to give him a
Melvin
C.
Gordon.
Yeah.
Your fumbles from running backs cost you at least one game, maybe
Probably
2.
two.
And
Yeah,
it wasn't
probably
just
2.
Melvin Gordon.
Okay,
So
I'm going to give him a C.
The best I can come out of this with the running backs when I include the turnovers is a C.
Yep.
The best.
Yeah, the fumbles are a big one. You cannot have that when you're operating with this small of margins because your offense is just
in a small sample size.
Yeah.
We're talking 5 games and turnovers that could have cost you 2. You're hoping that doesn't happen twice in a season, let alone in the first 4 games of the year.
Yep. So yeah, C. We'll give him a C as well. And we got Talian coming in here saying, if someone would have told you 6 months ago the trade would look this bad by October, would you have believed him? No. I would not have believed him.
And I'm not going to grade it in hindsight. I liked the trade at the time. I liked the trade for both teams at the time. I've said from the get-go that I thought Seattle did really, really well. You move a want-away 33-year-old quarterback with 2 years left on his deal and get that return. That was a great deal. There are folks here in Atlanta that were very, very jealous of what the Seattle Seahawks did with Russell Wilson. And then when they traded Matt Ryan for a 3rd-round pick, jealousy turned to anger. They were pissed. They were pissed that they just got a 3rd-round pick for Matt Ryan, hoping to get something more along the lines of, even half of what the Seahawks got would have been a big improvement over a 3rd-round pick. Their second 3rd-round pick at that. It wasn't even their higher 3rd-round pick. It was their second 3rd-round pick.
Yeah. Yep. Running back C minus. Running back room is a D. GVU is a B plus. Melvin Gordon F. Boone C. And I think Michael Kerr gave a C to Russell Wilson here. And Jeremy Sean gave the running backs a C as well. Williams was struggling with his vision. My God, the fumbles. They lost a Seattle game. Maybe lost you the Raiders game as well. Dom coming in, B minus. Need to be better in the pass. And Diamond Rattler giving the running backs a C. Wombat C minus. Michael Kerr giving them a C, B minus, E for effort for Gordon, and a C plus for Boone. Well, now we're going to move on to the tight end position. This is one that I feel comfortable giving a fat F. There's nobody there. They've struggled. Albert Okwuegbunam can't block. The other ones can't catch. There's no real dynamic ability there, and we haven't seen Dulcich yet. So this is probably the worst tight end room in football. Probably if you had Tim Patrick and a healthier offensive line out there, you might be able to get away with it. But with how I'm honestly shocked how much they've been targeting the tight ends in this offense, given how little talent they have in the room. But I'm going to give them an F.
I think that's fair. I mean, if you look at the eye test is okay. I haven't seen them do anything positive. I haven't necessarily watched them to see if they're a negative in the pass blocking, or run blocking. Like that's why you have Tomlinson and Saubert in there, is to help, bring that up. But then, then I look at the grades from PFF. Run blocking, Saubert 60.4, pass blocking 45.1. I go down to Okwuegbunam and pass blocking 29.8. Tomlinson was 51 on blocking. They're, according to their grades, out of 68 tight ends, you're talking 47, 56, and 59. Yeah, the tight ends are an F. Tight ends are an F. And I've said it a few times. You're missing Noah Fant more than you thought you would. Just a nice, dependable 70-catch receiver in this offense. You're missing him. And maybe you get some of that back here coming soon with Dulcich.
Maybe. You hope so, at least. But yeah, tight ends can't catch, can't block, can't get in their toes in. Yeah, it's been bad for the tight end position. Typically, I'd be
other than that though.
God, yeah, it's I feel like because of how bad the tight end room has been, Dulcich is coming in where if he even does anything, it's going to be like, oh my God, my sweet child, we bless you. We love you. Like just makes one catch and makes one guy miss in the open field or runs around. I mean, nobody else is doing that.
The bar has been set so low that, again, how could it get worse? How could Dulcich be worse? Just by, if he's out there and he becomes a dependable receiver who can get 3 catches a game, that is infinitely, exponentially better than what you've been getting. That's a good thing.
Yep. 100%. And Jay coming in. Hello, Jay. Says, I'm thinking about applying to a graduate program for biology, Nick. That's awesome, Jay. I mean, biology is a very broad spectrum, so I can't give you any advice on the overall umbrella of biology. I will say if you can work in some sort of data informatics in there as well, you're going to find yourself with job market opportunities, because a lot of even biology these days is computer statistics, data, software based. But that's awesome, man. That's really, really good to hear. I loved biology. I had a couple really great teachers in that and some of my favorite classes growing up. Moving forward, wide receiver. I'm going to give the wide receivers a B. I think Cortland Sutton's doing a lot right now. I think I've been harsh on Jerry Jeudy, rightfully so. I think this Colts game though was, Jerry, I'm sorry, buddy. I've been really tough on you. Maybe you could have made a crazy diving catch for that one in the corner of the end zone, but you're getting open. I think they should have gotten the ball on Hamler too. So I'm going to give them a B. Maybe I'm giving them a little bit of bump because I can't give the offense straight DCs and Fs. So the wide receivers, I just refuse. So I'm going to give them a B.
Yeah, I think the wide receivers, from what we've seen, are doing their jobs for the most part. Again, there's too many drops. There's too many drops across the board.
Tight ends, though, have been a lot of drops.
It's everybody.
Yeah.
Sutton's had a drop. Judy's had a drop. Everybody's dropping the damn ball.
Williams, yeah.
Except Hamler, because he hasn't been targeted. But Hamler has come back and getting open, doing his job. Sutton has been great. Judy's been okay. So, if I'm going like B+, C+, incomplete, that comes out to about a B. I'm okay with that.
Whew, thank God. And now the offensive line. I'm going to give the offensive line a D. I don't think they are as crazy, yakety sacks incompetent to be an F. It's not like what we saw last week with Matt Ryan and the Colts. That's what an F offensive line looks like. Broncos are bad. They're not that bad. So I'm going to give them a D.
Okay. My initial thought, my gut reaction on offensive line is F. It's just F. It's like, okay, they're able to do some things, but when it matters, they're a liability. When it's 3rd and long or 2nd and short, they are a liability. And that's no way to sustain any kind of offense. I'm going to stick with my gut reaction on this. Overall, the offensive line has been an F. Yeah. It has been an F. I've been harping on it for 3 weeks. Not going to back out of it now.
Yeah, I do want to say that I think maybe they're bad. Don't get me wrong. I'm not disagreeing with that. I think the matchup that you saw in person was probably about as bad of a matchup as you could possibly go up against. And that probably left a pretty big impact. Just seeing them getting their ass absolutely handed to them. Pardon me for saying that word.
But it's right up the gut. Yeah. I mean, Cushenberry, Glasgow, Reisner is the unholy trinity right now. They're just bad. So if Fleming's been okay, Bowles has been okay, but it's a unit. And one failing grade on an offensive unit can fail the entire scheme. And you got 3 liabilities out there. It's been bad.
Yeah. And I used to be of the opinion that on the offensive line, I'd rather be below average in the run blocking aspect and then, average or better in pass blocking. I maybe am starting to get a little flipped on that early on, because if you are positive in the run game, it forces teams to change their structure, their defense and their personnel. And then I think the play action is more respected when you actually are efficient in the run game. So right now the Broncos, because they can't run the ball for any success, think the 31st EPA per play rushing attack, they're 3rd and 7 constantly. Play action is off the table when that happens. And you don't have any of those easy kill shots on like 2nd and 1, 2nd and 2. So it's been poor, but it's been the run blocking specifically that has been disappointing for me.
I want you to think about it though, as from a scouting perspective, not necessarily from a scheme. Okay, can he pass block? Because especially up the middle, we're not talking about the dexterity and agility of a tackle who's out wide. That those are, in a sense, those are finesse players. Those
dancing
are
bears.
Yeah, they're finesse players a little bit out wide. Inside, if I can't run block It means I'm lacking strength. I'm lacking power. I'm lacking a push. So when those same guys tee off on me on 3rd and long, how am I already have proven I can't move them when I'm going forward.
Yeah.
What's happening when they tee off? So the fact that they can't pass block is that one of your first indicators is they can't run block. They're weak. I don't want to say that, but they're last year I said it a zillion times, bullied. They get bullied in the trenches. It's the same guys.
Yeah.
They're still getting bullied in the trenches. F. As a unit, this line is an F.
They're worse than last year too with the same guys. So that's some questions need to be drawn there. Kathy coming in saying, what are the grades possible for a German girl here? A, B, C, D, E, question mark, F. I was just naming the grades really fast, and then my brain went into automatic mode saying the ABCs. So I threw in an E. There is no E. We're just joking. They're just teasing me because of how silly that sounds. We also got Diamond Rattler with some news here saying Daniel Schneider reportedly believes he has enough dirt on NFL owners and Roger Goodell to blow up the league. That sounds like a rat in the corner to me, if anything, saying that obviously there's some dirty stuff.
Makes you wonder why he's been around so long, though.
True. Yeah, I'm sure there is some stuff, but
what did I didn't post it, but I also saw a comment in there. I was like, oh, the owners are contemplating a simple solution. I'm like, yeah, they're gonna freaking whack his ass. That's a simple solution. I come up with about a combined $100 billion of revenue. You think I can't disappear a dude, even one like Daniel Snyder?
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Go to the back of Walmart. That'll be your last time. Special teams, real quick. We'll just do overarching special teams. I'll give them a C+. I think they've been good. McManus missing some field goals is frustrating. I think Waitman has been okay. And I think the coverage units have been better than we've seen in years. And Montreal Washington's probably the best punt returner we've seen in years. So I'm bordering on a C+, B-. The kickers themselves, I think, have been average at best, which is a little bit of a disappointment. That bad snap as well in that Raiders game drops them a bit. You can't have those. And the long snapper, Bobenmeyer, IR. So hopefully they'll get better. But he was actually pretty poor this season. A couple bad snaps. So I'm going to give them a C+.
I'm much happier with this. I think I'm gone B+ on special teams overall. I think Washington has been really good in the punt return game. The coverage, I think, for the most part, has been okay, and your special teams won you in combination with your defense, won you the game against the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah.
Talking about games I was at and leaving a lasting impression. I mean, the guy was up there hitting chip shots. Looked like he was on a professional tour, just knocking them onto the green in practice, dropping them down in there. So I've been pleased with special teams on the whole.
Yep. I think that they were pretty bad in the Texans game, missed field goals and that blocked kicks. B-, C+. It's just right away. They're definitely better than they have been. The Broncos had been Fs pretty consistently on special teams the last couple of years, maybe Ds because McManus is fine. But overall, they've been fine. And also, this might be me being
fine.
My standard of special teams.
Fine one time. Don't say, how do I look? You look fine. Oh, man. That was 30 years ago and I'm still smarting from that one.
Yeah. My expectations too, my bar might be pretty high because I watch Iowa special teams, which is like special out there. It's one reason they can win games with 131st ranked offense out of 131 teams is their punt units are incredible.
As Tim says, it's, relative to expectations again. They've been bad for so long that they're the most improved. Yeah, I see Washington. I mean, Washington's averaging, 15, 16 yards of return on punts. He's top 3 or 4 in the league. He's been, that's huge yardage. And then to be able to pin your guy in, you're inside the 20, inside the 10 punts. The punting game, I think, has been an A for the most part. And that's where it comes. And then everything else has been fine. It's been fine. But I think the punt return and the punt coverage units have been really good for the most part.
And it makes the offensive ineptitude that much more frustrating. Defense is playing great. We're going to get to the grades here in a second. Special teams is fine, and the offense is still not capitalizing and putting up points despite, advantageous situations. Not great. But interior defensive line, now I'm going to give the interior defensive line a B. I think DJ Jones has been really good. I think Draymond Jones has been good this season. Not really good, but good. And after that, it's question marks. Mike Purcell, he had the really good game against the 49ers. Got dinged up last week, has been fine. Deshaun Williams, we were harping on him early. Haven't really noticed him in a positive or a negative way since then. So I guess That's good. I know Matt Henningsen has started to get more snaps as well. But I'm going to give the interior defensive line a B, mainly because DJ Jones and Draymond have been very good.
It's funny, and I talked with Eric and you about this a little bit, how I think the guys doing the grades for the Falcons on PFF are really, really good. Whoever's doing it, the men and women are doing it. I thought they've been really good. You look at the DL grades for on PFF for the Denver Broncos. Draymond Jones, 92nd out of 121. DJ Jones, 47th out of 121. Mike Purcell, 19th out of 121. And Deshaun Williams, 94 out of 121. If I'm looking at those grades, I'm saying it's a big F. That's not what I see. And when, one of my notes, we came on here and I said, DJ Jones, he's a menace. And then I look at the grade, and it was like a 30. He was the worst graded defensive player out there. So, again, I'm going with my gut on this one, what I see, and I think the interior line has been really good. They're getting penetration. Anything you get as far as negative plays from a 3-4 defensive line is gravy. Mm-hmm. It's gravy. Your edge guys are for that. Your linebackers they're basically hold up two blockers and flow around them. And DJ Jones has been living in the offensive backfield, and Draymond Jones has played well. And then Deshaun Williams has been okay. So I'm B+ on the interior DL.
Yeah, that's a B+ is good. And moving on now, the edge rushers. I'm going to give the edge rushers a big, outstanding A. Sprinkle some glitter on it, big old smiley face stickers, rainbow stickers, whatever you want. Edge rushers have been awesome. Bradley Chubb, in my opinion, so far this year has been the Broncos' second best player. Was he at 5.5 sacks? He's been amazing in the run game. Teams have tried to crack block him or, pulling guard, and he's blown them up, met them up with leverage and power at the point of attack. His pressure rates could be a little bit better, but I think the Broncos are putting much more onus on him in the run game and his gap discipline than they are the edge rusher opposite him, whether that be Benito, Browning, Gregory, who have a much cleaner path and assignment to the quarterback in potential run or pass plays, the ones that are not, could go either way. So I'm going to give the edge rushers an A. Browning was incredible last week. Don't expect that to continue. He looks like Von Miller. Colts offensive tackles are that bad.
Knockdowns a game.
No.
Yeah. He had 6. He had 6. He hit Matt Ryan 6 times.
Yep.
That's a month.
Yeah. Well, the edge, God, they've been incredible so far this season. Rombat's given them an A-. I can't imagine what more could you want from them. They could jump on, I guess, a few more of the forced fumbles they've created, but the Broncos have created 2 times as much forced fumbles this season than any other team in football, hopefully showing that that luck will turn around at some point. But unfortunately, they have not. Probably win one more game if they could jump on one of those fumbles, or heck, scoop and score even, give them more. But that's going above and beyond. That's extra credit for the grading of them. So I'm going to give them a solid A.
Yeah, I'm an A on that too. I've said that Chubb and Gregory were making game-changing plays. 2 of them each, basically a game. So you're getting 4 game-changing plays out of those edge guys. Losing Gregory for a little while hurts, no pun intended. But Browning, can come in, and if he can keep playing at a similar level to what he's been doing, you're just fine. And let's see some Jonathan Cooper. See as he's getting healthy, should help with that rotation as well.
Yeah. 100%. Moving edge, Jeremy Sean giving the edges an A. You guys let us know what you're thinking here as far as the edge rushers. A from Kathy saying A because even the backups are really good. Yeah, Benito had a good game too. Call it as it is. They didn't really target him in the run game, which was helpful. But he was fine in his role.
There on 2nd and 1 either.
Yeah, that's yeah. Okay, now we're on to the linebackers. I'm going to give the linebackers a C-, D+. Jonas Griffith has been poor so far this season, and he's probably the one that I'm most worried about when you talk about stopping the run this upcoming game. I think Alex Singleton was fine. They were not great in the Seattle game, leaking out coverage versus tight ends. They were not great against the Raiders, really good against the 49ers. I think fine against the Colts. Not really any big back-breaking runs there or misplays. So I'm going to give them a C-. They're not really a difference maker out there. Especially when Jewell is already banged up again. If you want to grade them on the negative curve, saying, Jewell's already hurt again, missed multiple times, I'd be okay if you wanted to argue D. But I don't think they've been that horrific outside of the Raiders game specifically and some of the coverage in the Seahawks game.
I think that's a good grade. C- on that. it goes back to, should it have been addressed a little bit more in the draft and free agency? I know Chad, shout out to Ethan who isn't here today. At least maybe he's listening, but hasn't been live in the chat, with Chad Muma. So I decided to look up Chad Muma here real quick. And to be fair, Jacksonville spent a ton of money on their inside linebackers, but he hasn't been playing a ton. He's got 12 snaps, 21 snaps or so, has 1 assist so far this year. So how much would Muma have helped immediately? It still needs to be addressed, but I think you can get immediate help at linebacker with some investment.
Yeah, it's definitely a position where they could use somebody else. You talk about a position where it'd be easy to fix throwing a mid-round draft pick or like a medium contract to get in there.
$3 million, $4 million, that's a lot of money for an inside linebacker.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. I mean, if Jewell could be healthy, I think you'd not be worrying about this, but just can't stay healthy. It's getting to that point where it's like this is this third injury in a 1-year timeline. Not great. So you have to start to worry about that with him. So I'm going to give them a C- overall. Again, if we're talking about like this being a syllabus or your end of the year grade, linebacker is only like 5% of your overall grade on the team. But moving on now, cornerback. This is a big one for me. And go ahead,
Real quick, Nick.
Yeah.
I just said that was a lot of money. Upcoming free agents at inside linebacker, there are just 3 making over $4 million. Anthony Walker, 27 years old. Devin Bush is at 4.7, 24 years old. And Levante David, older, experienced, at
Really
30.
good.
He'll be 33 at 12 and a half.
Yeah.
So, you can upgrade if you decide to spend a little bit of money.
Yeah. 100%. Moving forward here, the cornerbacks, I'm going to grade them on what they have been so far this season versus what they might be going forward because of injuries. I'm going to give them an A-. Why am I not giving them an A? Turnovers have not really been there, not the game-changing plays, which you want from your cornerback position. The Broncos' interceptions so far this season have not come. Hopefully that'll change, but kind of hard to get them when you're not playing with the lead ever. And the other thing is that how bad Damari Mathis looked after Ronald Darby went out in the last game. So you have questions there, but I mean, toss in Quan Williams, Patrick Surtain. It's hard not to be impressed with them. So an A- for me for this cornerback group overall.
Yeah, I like that grade. Going to miss Darby. I mean, there's been some times where corners have given up some plays. They're going to. This is a passing league, for God's sakes. Every rule change in the last 40 years has been to open up the passing game. So yeah, they've Surtain's been everything you could possibly hope. We talk about the hype, of the offseason. Patrick Surtain has lived up to it. And it's almost like, oh yeah, well, we expected that. You've seen how it goes the other direction. When you don't, what it feels like with Russell Wilson in your offense right now. To have it hit is Pat Surtain. And he was a good player last year, talking about him being a possible All-Pro. Right now, I think he's a shoo-in for first-team All-Pro. And I've been really happy with, again, I've talked about Williams and his run defense when he's left out there on an edge by himself and having to take on a tight end who's pulling. I think he's been really, really tough against a run, which you need when you're going to be out there in a nickel and dime half the time. You're going to need your slot corners to go in and be tough against a run, and he has been. Very happy with him.
Yeah, absolutely. C- or A- from Wombat, B from Diamond Rattler, A- from Jeremy Shawn. So yeah, pretty good overall. And now the safeties, I'm going to give the safeties a B+. Caden Stearns has stepped up and been admirable out there, but some missed tackles, some miscommunication, and again, lack of turnovers. I can't give them I guess Stearns had 2 really good ones this last game, but what I give them a B. I'm going to give them a B+. I think they've been slightly worse than the cornerback room, but they've been good.
I haven't been quite as happy with them again, and I think who was it said here recently? So you're missing Simmons a lot. I do. I think as many games as he's missed, I have seen a drop off in some of the bigger plays, especially against the run. You're missing him. So I think we're in the C's for me with some of the missed tackles, some of the missed assignments. That you're missing your Pro Bowl safety, which is okay. So being at your C+ with an emergency starter in there, will we see more of Caden Stearns when Simmons comes back than we did before Simmons went out? Maybe. I think he's earned some more time out there.
Yeah, maybe indeed. We'll find out. And that's going to do it for us, guys. We appreciate you. Got S or B plus for Wombat there on the safeties. I think B plus B is probably where I'll go as well. And Facebook user coming in, Scott, about any comments for you? Let's go. The Broncos are better than the Falcons. I think the Falcons it'd be gone. I think it's a neutral field game. So the Broncos were horrible against the Colts, but I think that you still lean back into their norms from the season. So on a neutral field, maybe the Falcons -1, maybe the Falcons 0.5, -0.5. Do they even do that?
Yeah, the Broncos defense are good enough to keep them in any game.
Yeah.
But their offense isn't good enough to run away from anybody. The Falcons have played 5 one-score games so far. They're getting a little banged up. They lost, when you lose Cordero Patterson and Kyle Pitts for a game, they don't have the depth of talent at skill positions to lose either of those guys, let alone both of them. So it'll be a tight game one way or another. I trust Arthur Smith in a tight game more than I do Nathaniel Hackett. I'll tell you that. I think Arthur Smith, he was 7-2 last year, 2-3 this year. What's that come up to? 9-5. He's 9-5 in one-score games with the Atlanta Falcons. I'd rather have Arthur Smith right now.
Yeah, that's Arthur Smith has been great. Want to give them a shout out on that one. He's been a great coach, and I love what they're doing offensively. Also love Ethan coming in here saying, "Great show, gents." Broncos country, y'all get an A+. Yeah, there's the closer. We appreciate you. We are holding on for you. And finally, we get Savage Boy coming in here. Grades on the coaching. I give the coaches a C. Evero's getting an A-. The special teams coach is probably getting a B+. And then you have the offensive side getting a D-, D. So that overall averages out to about a C+.
I think that's fair. We want to talk about Hackett, but at the same time, we want to talk about, Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams fumbling the ball on the goal line. Russell Wilson missing a wide open KJ Hamler that would have won the game. Okay, well, that's not on Hackett. Maybe Melvin Gordon getting the ball on the one is, but you know what I mean on this. So the offense as a whole is a D-, which unfortunately goes right to Nathaniel Hackett because he's the offensive coordinator. He was brought in to be the offensive coach of this team. That's why he's there. That's why he didn't go for a defensive guy. And the offense is failing for the most part. That's at his feet. But is it all because of him? I just reeled off a couple of reasons why the answer to that is no.
Yeah.
This team could be 5-0. It could be 0-5 in the small margins on this.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on to the ball against the Raiders. Game changer. Take the ball into the end zone against the Seahawks. All right, now you're sitting at 4-1. So I can't say F for Nathaniel Hackett in the offense, but I think a D is okay on that. And then Evero, I'd go A there. And then Dwayne Stukes, B+A on special teams. So, overall, I think the coaching staff sounds kind of nuts, but there's 3 phases to this game. But overall, the coaching staff, 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Yeah. Yep, I agree. Got to get it better, though. No doubt. So, guys, we're at 1 hour and 8 minutes. We got to get on out of here. We got to start our Thursday here. We appreciate everyone coming in and joining us. Thanks for all the support. Make sure you're following Scott and I on Twitter. Scott is at Scout Kennedy. I am at Nick Kendell MHH. Also, make sure you're following us at BFB_pod, as well as at Mile High Huddle. If you haven't done so yet, join our Facebook community at facebook.com/Mile High Huddle and facebook.com/Mile High Huddle pod. And as the ticker says underneath, please subscribe, like, and share if you are joining us on YouTube today. Shout out to the comment section. Really appreciated you guys. I know the Broncos have been rough to watch, and sometimes that leads to some hurt feelings and name calling in the chat. But I thought today's chat was very business, cordial, still obviously cheering for this team, but not really getting into each other with, just hurt feelings. So appreciate you guys. And shout out to Ethan coming in with the $50 coming in there at the end. We appreciate you. Pounds. Even better.
This days is not that much difference, but yeah,
actually.
Pounds. But yeah, thank you. Good to see you again, Ethan. Hope things are well. And it's Thursday, so that means I head for London in 2 weeks. 2 weeks. I'm getting on the plane and heading that direction.
Coming up. That'll be great. Well, we appreciate you guys. Make sure you have a great rest of your day. Choose kindness and choose compassion. Go Broncos.